which is better, breast milk or formula? Can you drink alcohol, wine while breastfeeding? What are the things that would prevent breastfeeding a baby? Hello and welcome to Cocoa Pods, a podcast of the Birth Center for Natural Deliveries Foundation. As women's healthcare specialists, we talk about issues that can affect a woman before, during, and after pregnancy. We bring knowledge, expertise, and experience from working in communities, including in rural America and in urban Africa. My name is Dr. Bola Sogade. I'm the host of this public education podcast. Dr. Ekuase Sanusi is a pediatrician, a specialist in her area. So I just want to wrap up back with breastfeeding. I have, just a few questions. Number one, which is better, breast milk or formula? And number two, can you drink alcohol, wine while breastfeeding? And number three, what are the things that would prevent breastfeeding a baby, like tongue problems with the baby or abscesses or sore nipples for the mom? So those are the three questions. I hope you remember them as we wrap up.
Okay, let me remember them. Let me do them one at a time. So the first question was, is which one is better, breast milk or formula? I tell people, I said, anything that God has made is always a million times better than anything man can make. It's like asking which one is better, artificial, whatever, or natural. Natural is always 100% better. Breast milk is always better than formula. First of all, the casein and whey ratio of breast milk, there's more whey protein in breast milk than in formula. And that helps. It's softer on the stomach. Breast milk is better absorbed. Breast milk gives antibodies which formula cannot produce. IgA antibodies, which helps to prevent infection. Breast milk also helps with brain development. In fact, everything about breast milk is 100% better than formula. Now, there are extenuating circumstances where moms find themselves they're either on medication or they can't breastfeed for whatever reason. And it's real. That's life. And in that situation, yes, go ahead and give formula. And I tell people, they say, which formula is better? I say, most formulas have the same thing. You just pick what you are more comfortable with. Some people, their family member will say, oh, this is best formula, SMA or Enfamil or Similac or Prosobi. Say whatever works for your baby and works for you, go for it. But you cannot beat breastfeeding your baby, especially for the first year of life. Some people can do 6 months. I tell parents, if you can do 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, go for it because there's a lot of benefits in breast milk. Breastfed babies tend to have less of a risk for developmental delays also. And even their temperament and their behavior, they're more calm, they're more relaxed, and they're just smarter in general. So when you have your child going to Harvard and Yale, I tell them, hey, just be healing the breast milk that you did in the first year of life. And then your second question was, should moms take alcohol?
Yeah, could they drink wine?
Could they drink wine? Yeah. Well, that how much is a little? How much is a lot? For you and I, a little might be a sip. For somebody else, a lot might be a sip. For another person, a lot could be 1 cup. For another person, a lot could be 10 bottles. So if you don't have to drink alcohol when you're breastfeeding, it's better. Some people come up with a formula that, well, if you drink alcohol 3 hours before you breastfeed, that it's left your system. Everybody's system is different. One person's system might get rid of the alcohol in 1 hour. Another person, it might take 2 days for the alcohol to leave your system. So my advice is stay away from alcohol, especially if you're breastfeeding. If you don't want your baby to start tasting alcohol in the breast milk at such an early age, it's always safer. Here in America, the age of alcohol drinking is 18 or 21? 21. In Europe is 18. There are reasons why they put those limits in. So if we're drinking alcohol and breastfeeding our baby, we've just lowered the age to newborns for drinking alcohol, and there's no need for that. And a lot of it is secreted. It can come through the breast milk. So it's just safer to stay away from it, in my opinion, than to try and figure out what is enough and what is not enough. and whether we should do it or not. The third question you asked, please go ahead and say it again.
So when the babies are born, they could have a subtle tongue tie that even a newborn exam might miss. And it's preventing the babies from latching onto the nipple and feeding properly. So how would a mom know, like, a baby has a tongue tie or problems with the mouth of the baby that is preventing the baby from feeding well? Or if the mom has problems like the nipples are sore or she has a little boil, breast abscess can affect breastfeeding. How can we address those things?
It's always safer to see your doctor if you have problems with that. And here in America, we do have lactation specialists that can work with moms. But in Nigeria, too, we have a lot of midwives, nurse midwives that can help to address those concerns. So if moms are concerned that the baby's not latching on, and especially when they've been trying and it's been a couple of days, it's always safer to have your baby checked. Some babies have really short frenulums at the tongue. When it's attached to the bottom of the mouth, the tongue can actually have a groove in the middle where the baby is not able to even extend or protrude the tongue out of the mouth. Now, that can be simply taken care of. Some pediatricians are good at just snipping the frenulum at the base, and sometimes they'll send you to a pediatric surgeon if they're not comfortable. But a lot of babies that have tongue tie, my last child had tongue tie, and they were asking me if I wanted to snip it. And I told her I should leave it alone first. So she breastfed very well. And sometimes tongue tie might not necessarily be the reason why your baby is not breastfeeding properly. There could be other reasons, but always seek out the advice of a trained nurse midwife or a lactation specialist for that. Tongue tie by itself might not necessarily be the main problem for your baby not breastfeeding well, but it could be part of the problem. So it's always better to get it addressed if your doctor feels that is affecting breast milk, and it doesn't hurt to have it snipped if it is necessary to get it snipped. But if your baby is breastfeeding after a while and the baby still has tongue tie, then it might not be necessary to get the frenulum cut, just because over time it's just a matter of the baby learning how to breastfeed, and that should not be a problem.
And then for the cracked nipples, they just keep,
Yes. Okay. So cracked nipples, sometimes it's also the positioning of the baby during breastfeeding. If moms are bending over to breastfeed as opposed to putting pillows or support underneath their hands so that they can hold the baby, that can cause cracks in the nipple. And then sometimes that can predispose moms to getting cellulitis of the nipple. And then if some moms have just very dry nipples, and they might need to have like moisturizer on the nipples so that it doesn't crack. So lanolin cream is actually something that is recommended. So I tell moms, hey, get some lanolin. Sometimes the baby might have thrush, and moms might have thrush on their nipples too. So it's always better to have a healthcare specialist look at that and address it, because your baby and you might need to have some nystatin prescribed so that the thrush can go away and then the mom's nipples can heal. So usually we would have moms put the nystatin drops on their breast milk and just rub it on there. But the lanolin is important so that as the baby is breastfeeding, the nipples don't get cracked and injured just based on the fact that the positioning of the baby is off.
So the nystatin drops is put on the nipples and rubbed
Yes.
on the nipples.
Yes. And then babies are given it by mouth. It's 4 times a day, and that's what we usually recommend.
Wow.
And one more thing, if moms have breast infection, they might need to be on oral antibiotics, but their doctor will go ahead and put moms on that, because it's very easy to get mastitis and infection of the nipples, especially while you're still trying to learn how to breastfeed your baby. So always get that checked so that they can give mom the appropriate medicine for her.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Sanusi. For all our podcast listeners, we have Dr. Sanusi doing a series of newborn talks with us, and this is the first of the series. And so we thank you so much for being on Cocoa Pod's podcast, and we look forward to the rest of the discussions you're going to be having with us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here.